Yeah. So, so as I said, in in Shikshavali it says Shiksham Vyakhyasyamaha Varna Swaraha Matra Balam Sama Santanaha. We looked at Varna. Varna is all your vowels, your consonants, its pronunciation. You say ka, ka, ga, ta, da. So we say Ganapati. We don't say Ganapadi. So we have to be very, very careful when we are chanting. So Varna has to be perfect Varna, whichever is the letter that we are chanting. Swara. We have the Anudatam that goes under with an underline is Anudatam, the one that goes under. Udatam is one above the under without any notations. Sometimes we also call it as Sama, so that suddenly if you say Udatam, people will not understand. So Samadalirli anta ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಏನು ಬೇಡ intonation Samadalirli. So Sama we say. So that is for the ease of understanding we say. So that is called Udatam. Swaritam is a single vertical line. Garna pa tigam pa, single vertical line. Garna na there is a double line that is called Dirgha Swaritam. So these are the different four different intonations. Swaraha. So these are the swaras. Then matra. Then in matra we have a, dirgha, hraswa, dirgha swara, hraswa swara, ka, ka. So whichever is the letter, you keep the mouth in that shape. You don't have to say ah. You don't have to extend. If you say ah, it means it's a dirgha. If you say it is a hrasva because of the shape of the mouth, not because of how much you elongate. But generally, we don't elongate hrasvas also too much. Then varna, swaraha, matra is over. Balam. So when we are chanting, we have to chant with the right energy. Veda is not like modulation of chanting is important. Modulation of your voice is important when you're chanting. But that doesn't mean to say you're chanting so low that nobody can even, not even yourself can hear. There are some people who will, even if they open their mouth, you will not be able to hear them speak or hear them. Speaking is okay. Swami still says speak softly. But for Vedam, you need to have some amount of balam. So balam. So matra, balam. So there are different examples. When you are chanting, for example, Durga Suktam. Om Jhata Vedase Sunava Bhasoma Marati Gyato Nidahati Vedaha. When you're chanting the Rudram, Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, Om Namaste Rudra Manyava Utota Ishabhe Namaha. So that bala will come. Now, if you're chanting Medha Suktam, you don't say Medha Devi Jushamana. We don't say, because Medha is intelligence. That is Saraswati. So goddess Saraswati, goddess Medha, intelligence has to always come in a very sober way. While you still need to have balam, you should not chant in a way wherein it looks like you're going for a war. It should be Medha Devi Jushamana Na Agad Vishwachi Bhadra Sumanasya Mana. You have the right balam, but you're not neither drowning it nor you're throwing it. So for each mantra, you have a certain bala, matra, balam, then sama and santana. So together I'll explain. When you combine the letters, you need to know where do you combine, where do you break. I'll just give one or two examples. Now, Ghanana Antva Ganapatigam Havamahe, we say Havamahe. People stop. Kaving Kavina. No. So Havamahe Kaving Kavina. So we need to know how much spacing we have to give. So Sama and then Santanaha is the combining. Kaving Kavinam. If you stop, it is Kaving Kavinam Upamashravastamam. If you combine, it becomes Kaving Kavinam Upamashravastamam. So it becomes mu. Kaving Kavinam, Kavinam, and u is mu. Kaving Kavinam Upamashravastamam. But when we are chanting together, it should be Kaving Kavinam Upamashravastamam. So it should not be like kaving kavinam upamashravastamam. No, because you're combining it. Santana, sama, santanaha, santana should be there. Now it should also not be kaving kavina mupamashravas. There is no such word as mupa. It is upa. So and upa becomes mupa, but that mu is just to attach. It is not, it is just to do the sandhi. It is not, sandhi is an attachment. So for those of us who don't know, sandhi is an attachment. So just to make that attachment, it is so we don't press on mupamashravastamam, so it will not sound okay. Kaving kavina mupamashra. There are many people who do that, but we shouldn't. We should avoid that. Kaving kavina mupamashravastamam. So that is how sama santanaha ityukta shikshadhyayaha. So these are the main rules that we have to chant. Now a little more before we actually get into the chanting, because it's not a big deal to just start learning chanting. All that we have to do is listen and repeat and practice. So only 3 steps are needed to learn Veda. Listen to whoever is teaching, then repeat as it is being said, and then practice as it is, as you have repeated. That's all. Only 3 steps. It's very simple to learn. Now, but what we need to know is sorry. So, but what we need to know is, why do we have some basics as to why do we have intonations? If you look at a stotra, say if you're chanting, you're all teaching in your Balvikas classes, Vakratunda Mahakaya, Kaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvikyam. So we are singing. Now, if we are chanting Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Medeva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. It is correct. If you sing, it is correct. But can you sing Veda? No. You have to chant. You have to chant, and that too in a particular prescribed intonation only. Why? So one of the main purposes of having intonations, the intonation is what? Even if you don't know the mantra, and if you're just going on chanting with all the regular frequencies, it is nothing but just sound at different levels, sound at different frequencies. So that frequency is what? It is nothing but sound frequency wavelength. Why is that frequency important? The divine energy is present everywhere. This entire universe exists because of divine energy, and we are all beings who have come from that divine, and then we are all beings who are there. When we have to get a particular benefit from a deity, say we are chanting Ganapati, Ganapati Stotram, Gananantva, we are chanting Prano Devi, we are chanting. When we are chanting, if you chant it with that frequency, Om Gananantva Ganapatigam Havamahe Kaving Kavinamupamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinvannuti Dasadanam. We have a particular frequency. What is the if you have this frequency, what happens is the frequency that at which that particular divinity exists, and this frequency with which we chant, it matches. When frequencies match, you get connected. A simple example is, how does telephones work? How does mobile phones work? Because of frequency. And how is that frequency decided? Because of a phone number. If you're dialing 98050, 98050 something, if you're dialing, then whoever you're dialing should match the frequency of the person who's dialing. So I want to speak to a person X, and that X person's number is 98050 something. And then I have to call the exact frequency. For the frequency to match, I have to call the exact number. Every number that is there is like the intonations, all these different aspects, at least particularly the swara, the matra, varna, the letters, correct chanting, correct number. If that 9, if you have written it as 8, so if you dial it, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಚಾಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನಾಗಲ್ಲ. If you chant, what happens? It doesn't get connected. So will you be able to connect to that phone number? No. 98 instead of 98050. If we say it's okay, I'll call 99050. It will not work. So you have to call that exact thing to connect with that frequency. Same thing with Veda. You need to have the exact frequency to connect. Another better example also is all of us who have seen how in the olden times radio box, we used to have a tuner. The AM FMs are at least a little better, but AMs you have to exactly tune it to that frequency. Even FMs, that tuner, that turning knob that you have, if you say 98.3 FM, you have to exactly tune it to that 98.3. If you keep it at 98.2, it will still come, but it will not be clear. If you keep it at 98.4 or 98.5, you can still hear, but it is very feeble. Same way, the amount of connection, the clarity of connection is less when you make a mistake. If you're completely chanting wrong, then there are other problems. So we have to, that is why, that's the importance of why. In stotram chanting, intonations are not there, because stotram, for example, shloka, there is a meaning behind the structure of every mantra. Some are called Parvatini, some mantras are called shlokas, some are of the Gayatri mantra format, some are, different formats are there. Shloka, for example, was introduced by Maharshi Valmiki, because when he saw that, a bird fell from the tree, and the other bird which was there with it was weeping, and then the sound of that weeping that it generated, it was out of shoka, out of sadness or shoka, it was generating that sound. So Valmiki said that the sound sounds very good for a bhakti format. So to instill bhakti in a person, the sound of this bird's shoka is sounding good. So he adopted that, and then he chanted the entire Valmiki Ramayana in that format. So that is why, because that sound originated from shoka, it became a shloka. So that is the thing. But there, the purpose is bhakti. Here, I'm not saying that bhakti is not required, but here it is mostly frequency. Next thing is also, first is karma. That means you're actually chanting it correctly. Then jnana, you have to understand what that mantra is. If you just say Ganana Antva Ganapati, you're looking around here, there, who's coming, who's going, particularly when you're sitting in the class, somebody comes late. So even for Veda classes, many people will come after it is started. So, and then we turn and see who's come. Has my friend come? So we do all that. So when you're chanting Ghanana Antva Ganapati Gam Hava, and then you're looking around, you're not concentrating on what it means, the effect of that for your own self is less. So that is why, it is important that we understand at a high level. We are not in a Gurukula where we understand word to word meaning of every mantra. So we can understand at a high level. If we understand at a high level, we can contemplate on what is the meaning of that mantra, and then we can chant. So that is jnana. Karma is correct chanting. Jnana is with understanding of what you're chanting. If you do that chanting correctly, it generates the correct vibration to connect with the divinity. You're doing you're understanding at a high level the meaning of what you're chanting. Obviously, bhakti will come in. So karma, jnana, bhakti, everything will come. So this is why we have to do, whenever we really need to understand. It is, as I said, it is not difficult to learn Veda. It is very easy. 3-step process. Listen, repeat, practice, and repeat the whole process. That's all. So, but we have to understand why we are doing what we are doing. We may not need to explain all this to children. They will not understand. If you explain all this to children, they will not turn up from the next week. So this is only for us to understand. So as Balvikas Gurus, we have to understand, as everybody, not just Gurus, but as all chanters, whether we are not, this much is very important for us to understand for learning the Veda. Now we will start with the Ganapati Pratana. The format is, I will chant, and then we can have each person on turn by turn. We will unmute, and then I'll repeat chant. and then we'll go ahead. Now there are certain rules in chanting. As we are doing, we can do all those. We'll start with the basic chanting of Gananantva and Pranodevi today. Tomorrow also we'll repeat the class because we don't want to have a Dvitiya Vigna. So just this week, today and tomorrow. From next week, we will have it only on Tuesdays. We will just start. There are certain rules of chanting at a very high level. We have vowels, we have consonants, a, I, u, r, a, I, o, au, and aha. So these are the vowels. From ka to na, ka, ka, ga, nga, the cha, cha, ja, ja, nya. So I will explain a little more about the structure of these in tomorrow's class. Now we will chant Gananantva Pranodevi, and then we will close. Want to go first? Swati sister, you want to unmute, please?
Yes, sir.
So I'll chant. As I'm chanting, I will also keep telling the certain instructions for you to remember. So this is only first time. Once you know all the rules and all the instructions, I will not keep telling them again and again unless there are glaring mistakes. Now, when we chant Om, another thing to understand is Om has how many syllables does Om have? Anybody?
3.
3. How many say 3? Everybody says 3. Anybody differs?
No.
No, 3.
Okay, from a syllables perspective, it is 3. But from a spacing, from a matra perspective, it is 4. It is A, U, M, and blank. So we don't say Om Gananantva. We don't say Om Gananantva. We give us gap. So, and some have the practice of saying Aum. So it is A-U-M, but in Sanskrit, when you combine A and U, it becomes O. Look at we can ourselves make out A, U becomes O. Combination of A and U is O. So that is why we give equal spacing for A, U, If we do 2 seconds of A, 2 seconds of U, 2 seconds of 2 seconds of blank. So 2, 2, 2, 2. Now, if you combine A and U and make it O, O will be 4 seconds. So we'll say Om. Om. And it slowly must die down. Swami said that don't just don't stop it there. It has to die down slowly into the blank, like how an aeroplane comes and goes. Swami said in one of the discourses. So that is how we chant Om. We need to understand some of these basics. Okay, we'll start. Yes, Swati sister, you can unmute.
Yes.
Om.
Oh.
Gananantva.
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 Ganapatigum.
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 Havamahe.
Avamahe.
Havamahe.
Havamahe.
Gananantva.
Gananantva.
Ganapatigum havamahe.
Ganapatigum havamahe.
Okay, so now this much we've chanted. Now We say Om, we say. We have to just say it as Om. It is not going to be Om. It is not that morning 21 Omkaras Om. Veda Om is just straight. Om. Then Gana. Then we have the Dirgha Svaritam. Gana. Na. When we say Gana. Na. It has to, that step should come. So it should be Gana. Na. Antva. It will not be Gana. Na. Antva. Na. Antva. That musical, it will not flow. It will be like this. Then Ganapati. So I'll come to the books part in a bit. So when you say Ganapati if you see any book, will be a half g. It is not ga, it is not gu, it is g. So it will be Ganapati is you just g you're saying, but you're not saying the you're just obstructing the sound at the throat. Ganapati So if you say Ganapati gum, there is no gum in it. So then the Ganapati gum gummodilla. Idrali Ganapati Ganapati Havamahe. So those are small things that we have to notice. Kaving Kavinam. Continue, sister.
Kaving Kavinam.
Kaving Kavinam.
Kaving Kavinam.
Upamashravastamam.
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 Kaving Kavinamupamashravastamam.
Kaving Kavinamupamashravastamam.
Okay, so there is a common mistake that everybody does. They say Kaving Kavinam. There is no Veena in it. It is Kaving Kavinam. So he's a Kavi. He's not just a Kavi. He's not just a poet. He's a poet of poets. So Kaving Kavinam. So it is Kavinam. So it will not be Kavinam. Kaving Kavinam Upamashravastamam.
Kaving Kavinamupamashravastamam.
Jeshtarajam.
Jeshtarajam.
So it is Jeshtha. So there is a Mahaprana. Jeshtarajam.
Jeshtarajam.
Brahmanam Brahmanaspata.
Brahmanam Brahmanaspata.
Anashrinvan.
Anashrinvan.
Shrinvan. No, n. Anashrinvan.
Anashrinvan.
Utibhisidasadanam.
Utibhisidasadanam.
Anashrinvanutibhisidasadanam.
Anashrinvanutibhisidasadanam.
Okay, so here Kaving Kavinam, I said Upamashra. So together is Kaving Kavinam Upamashra Vastamam. That is the combining. Then wherever there is a Mahaprana, we have to be very clear. It's very easy to chant a Mahaprana. Generally, people say Jeshtha Rajam, means you have to say Jeshtha Rajam. You don't have to say a Mahaprana as though you're slapping somebody. It should not be like that. It should still be soft. Just saying a Mahaprana should be clear, but it should not be so much of a thing that, you uh, throw it out at somebody or you hurt yourself. Your Mahaprana should not be so strong, but it has to be clear. How do we do that? When we say Jeshtha, I'll say Jeshta is wrong. It is not ta, it is tha. See, I say I don't put too much effort, but I still say Jeshtha. Jeshtha. Is it not? Is the Mahaprana not sounding? It is sounding. If I say Jeshta and Jeshtha, you can notice the difference, right? Jeshta, Jeshtha. So how did we do? How did I do that? For a ta, what is a Mahaprana? What is a prana? Prana means breath. Which is that consonant which is synonymous with breath? Ha. So for the alpa prana, you add one small ha. You add one prana to the alpa prana. So ta, you add one small ha. Tha. It becomes tha. So you have pa, pa. With for pa, you add one ha. It becomes a mahaprana. It becomes pa. So for ka, you say ka, kha, kha. So it becomes mahaprana. Da, dha. So I didn't put too much. I did not say dha. We don't have to do that. Jeshtha Rajam. I don't have to do that. Jeshtha Rajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinvan. Then Uti Bhisi Dasadanam. The easiest way to give a prana or a ha is to let the breath out from the navel area, from the abdomen. If you let out the ha, then a Mahaprana will come. It's easy to come. We have to just pull our abdomen a little bit inside when we are leaving out the breath. Then bha. Brahmanas anashrinvan nuti bhissi dasadanam. I don't have bhissi. I don't have to do that. Anashrinvan nuti bhissi dasadanam. People have many people who are typically singers have a wrong perception that if you chant Vedam, you will spoil your voice because you're doing it very loudly, extra effort, and so you're spoiling your voice. It is not true. This is any day it is going to enhance your voice if you know how to do it correctly. So all the Alpa Pranas, Mahapranas, our Ucharana becomes very, very clear. So with this, we will, this is the just the beginning. I just wanted to start. We will continue tomorrow. Maybe we'll not do the entire 45 minutes tomorrow. So we'll probably do 8 o'clock, 8:15 maybe we will. 8:15 we'll join tomorrow and just do for 30 minutes. We have another program in the evening, Padmanabh Nagar Samiti. So 8:15 we will do 8:15 to 8:30. We'll close every class. We close with Swasti Prajabhya. Swasti Prajabhya we chant so that it is to say that we all do the seva activity together as a in unity. So that is why we chant Swasti Prajabhya, and then we will learn the Kshama Prarthana. For now, I will chant both of them and slowly we will learn them. Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahimahishaha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Yadaksharapadabhrashtam matra hinantu yat bhavet tat sarvam kshamyatam deva narayana namostute visarga bindu matrani padapadaksharaणि cha nyunani chatiriktaनि kshamasva saishvara aparadha sahasrani kriyante harnisham maya दासोऽयमिति मां मत्वा क्षमस्व साईश्वर अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष साईश्वर हरिः ओम तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु. Sai Ram, everybody.